Hey, what's going on, everybody? Derek James, GovKidMethod here. Welcome to our 8th consecutive YouTube live session. So awesome, right? I know we have a number of returning subscribers, not subscribers. We've had a number of returning people that have been watching week after week after week for the YouTube lives. So that's awesome, and a shout out to all of you. But we've also had a number of new folks join us. They say that, hey, this is my first YouTube live, and they really love it. So hoping to get some of those today, because that's pretty awesome. Today's session, our 8th live. Again, I'm trying to think of what we're going to do for the 10th. Hopefully, I can do something a little bit different. Today's session, we are going to be talking about set-asides. As you probably guessed in the thumbnail, set-asides will not save you. If you are joining from our Facebook group live hangout, I gave you a little bit of a heads up on what we're going to be getting into today as it comes to set-asides, because there's a lot of certain way of things being said about set-asides, and I'm going to talk about them a little bit differently today. It may be a little polarizing, it may be unpopular, and you know what, that's okay, because I'm here to serve you and to keep it real for everybody, versus maybe some other people that are trying to sell you a hope and a dream in exchange for your best interests. I truly, genuinely just want what's best for you. And this is a topic that I've touched on in the past, and I decided to commit an entire YouTube live session today, so it should be interesting. So again, that's going to be our topic today. And I will be, I'll be checking things as we go here. Moving update, for those of you that have been following my moving journey, you may see that I have a bit of a different background. So I'm at my girlfriend's house. The house is entirely empty. Last week we were moving couches and stuff. Now the house is totally empty. And unfortunately, I'm supposed to be literally, my family, my girlfriend and everybody's supposed to be moving tomorrow to Alabama. Tomorrow is the day. Unfortunately, Hurricane Sally hit this week. And so, if you look at the Hurricane Sally path, Gulf Shores, Alabama, the area that we're moving to, is right in the middle of that path. So we got rocked. The area we're moving to got rocked. They are still without power, massive flooding. So although I'm supposed to be moving tomorrow, we are stuck here until power gets back on and the flooding is over with. So did not expect that at all. So we're literally sitting in an empty house. We're sleeping on blow-up air mattresses. My girlfriend literally had to borrow a pot from her sister yesterday because we have no dishes, no nothing. So life has just gotten a little crazy here, probably just for a little bit. And it is a miracle of God that I'm actually able to sit in front of you today and still do this session today. So let me check the chat here. Arlinda Grooms, good day. This is Marshall Harris, Harrison Grooms Enterprises. This is my 3rd visit. Welcome, Marshall, and thanks for returning. I definitely remember you and recognize your name. So thanks for being a valued member of our community here. Victoria, hi Derek, I've read your book, it's great. Hey, that's awesome, Victoria. I'm so glad that you were able to check out the book and that you got some value from it. So that's really cool. I always love to hear when people are able to check out my book. It is currently set for free at my website, GovKidMethod, if you want to get it. And Emmanuel Alonza, hello everyone. What is going on, Emmanuel? I know you are another returning member of our community. So welcome back and thank you for being here. Special thanks to all of you who contributed to the channel during last week's live session. Super chats and super stickers are now enabled, and YouTube asked me to say that it's the way that they allow us to support the channel. So if anybody wants to support the channel, that is the best way that YouTube wants you to do it. And for me, it's just awesome to have you all here. So if you are new here and this is your first time, This is the time of the session where you can go ahead and type first time in the chat. So if this is the first time joining live, we want to acknowledge you and welcome you to the community. So go ahead and type first time in the chat. If you're returning, you can type returning, but it's up to you. You know that we kind of know who you all are, and you're so appreciated. But then also anybody who is watching this in the future on replay, yes, I'm talking to you in the future. Go ahead and put replay in the comments so that we know you're here as well. If you're not familiar with how this works today, again, we're talking about set-asides will not save you. This is our topic. We're going to get into it in just a second. But the way this works is we're going to be live right here for about an hour 15 minutes. We'll see how it goes. The first half of the session, we're going to be talking about today's topic. If you have any questions as they relate to today's topic, go ahead and ask those at any time. When you have those, put those in the chat. I'll take a break to get a drink from my water. And when I do that, I'll pop in throughout to check the chat, and I'll try to get to those questions. Any and all other questions, you can still ask those. I just ask that you try to save those for the end of the session. And I'll give you a heads up when the end is coming, because we'll spend probably another 15 minutes or so answering other GovCon related questions and interacting that way. Because I know so many of you have other questions about what's going on with your business. And this really is a great forum and a great way to get those questions answered as well. Since we're all together in the same place, why not answer a few questions? So that's kind of how things are going to work. I'll check the chat one more time here. Victoria says returning. Awesome. Thank you, Victoria. Ritesh Malhotra, first time. Hey, Ritesh, what's going on? Thank you for being here. First time. So thank you for joining our YouTube live community. We are happy to have you here. Latin Total, thanks for all the great advice. Thank you for the super chat so much, Latin Total. I believe I've seen you in the Facebook group, so giving you a shout out. Thank you so much for supporting the channel with that super chat. And I'm glad the advice is helping you. It's what keeps me going. Arthur says returning, great info you're sharing. Thank you so much, Arthur. Chris P is returning as well. Yes, Chris P, I definitely remember. And Q, my beautiful girlfriend, is watching from the kitchen table not far off. So babe, thanks for watching and all the support that you give me behind the scenes that all you guys don't even know, but she's my backbone with this whole GovKidMethod thing. So she's watching. So awesome. So I think we're caught up on the chat here, guys. If you want to hit that like button now or in the future, if you want to show some support for this video, or I would say even wait till we get into it. And if you like it, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps the videos show up in the ratings. And I'm trying to rank higher in YouTube. So try to get to 20 or 30 likes for a video. That's kind of the goal, 20 or 30 likes. So we'll see what we can do today. All right, I hope you're ready. I'm ready. This is something I've been looking forward to kind of all week. And it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. So let's go ahead and transition over to our topic today, which is set-asides and why they're not going to save you in government contracting. Real quick, if you don't know what a set-aside is, I'm going to get you up to speed really quick. We're not going to define set-asides for half an hour, but let me just take a few seconds. A government contracting set-aside is a way of creating a reduced pool for businesses of a like kind to bid on a particular project. So that's kind of how I define it. It's a way of creating a reduced pool of competition, competitors, businesses. It reduces the pool to those businesses that only have that particular set aside. So they are like kind of each other. So let's talk about the main five, okay? There is an 8A set aside. There is a woman-owned set aside. There is a veteran-owned small business set aside. There's a service-disabled veteran-owned small business set aside. And there's a HUBZone set aside. Those are the five most common, and the five that beta.sam.gov recognizes. If you were to search by set aside, you're going to find those five there as the main set asides for federal government contracts. So it is different on the state level. For example, federal doesn't have minority set-asides. I get the question fairly often. I hear it fairly often. Can I get a minority set-aside? No, you can't. It's not called that. So the question has to change. There is no minority set-aside, at least with federal government contracting, okay? What they have is the 8A program, and the 8A program is for socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. So that can mean minority or not. In any case, you have to make your case. In any event, you have to make your case as to why you're socially and economically disadvantaged, okay? That is usually what people are referring to, but there's not a minority set aside as such. So essentially what this allows procurement and contracting to do with these set asides is to create bids that are coming out now or in the future that can be bid on by a reduced pool. So woman-owned small businesses. Okay, only woman-owned small businesses can bid on this. Or veteran-owned small businesses. Only our vets can bid on this. Hopefully you get the idea, okay? I don't want to define it much more than that because I don't know how many of you know what it is or don't know what it is. But that's in essence as we're going to be talking about it today, okay? And there's good things about these set-asides. One of the things I just told you, it's a reduced pool. But today's topic is why they're not going to save you. So keep that in mind as I'm setting this up, because what I'm doing right now is I'm setting this up for the bend in the curve that we're going to get to in a minute. There's something aside from the restricted pools. There's something called sole sourcing. So sole sources where contracts can be given directly to a company. There's also direct awards, which is not exactly the same thing, but it is rather synonymous. So sole sourcing and direct awards can be given to certain set-aside companies. So the 8A program, any business that's in the 9-year program for 8As can get sole source contracts, okay? It's a very powerful contracting mechanism. And then, for example, veteran-owned small businesses, our vets, they can get sole sources from the VA because there's a company-agency relationship inherent that exists between the Department of Veteran Affairs and veteran-owned small businesses, right? So they are able to sole source on that level. They did just change it a few years ago where woman-owned small businesses can receive sole sources, but I have not seen it done hardly at all. And from what I've seen, contracting is rather, what's the word? Not sketchy, it's a horrible word to use, but they're just very apprehensive to do it. I don't know why. I think probably because it's new and they don't see others doing it, and so they don't want to do it, or something like that. So I have seen it for women in small businesses as well. And anyway, it's a good thing, okay? It's a powerful mechanism. So it's a good thing for particular set-asides to be able to receive sole sources or direct awards, okay? And lastly, there's something called the rule of 2. So in a source of sought, stage 1, for those of you that watch week in and week out, should know the 4 stages of a bid. Stage 1 is source of sought. The rule of 2 kicks in if there is at least 2 small businesses with the same set-aside responding during that market research stage, then contracting shall consider setting it aside for that particular group or set aside where those 2 businesses or more responded to. I give the example of 8 businesses responding during the source of sought stage, and 6 of them are woman-owned small businesses. Well, you can probably guess that this future bid, stage 3, is going to be set aside for woman-owned small businesses because now they've seen through their market research that adequate number of women-owned small businesses are interested and capable of fulfilling this requirement. So that in itself also becomes a powerful strategy. If you know other small business owners, other companies where you can all just kind of do the rule of 2 thing here, and you all can go after the same bids together so that you're bidding on the same things, responding to the same things, because then you get it set aside just for your, not for your businesses, but for your set aside. So again, it's a reduced pool. So that is another good thing. So that's all I really want to set it up for. So why is it not going to save you? And this is kind of where the rant part might come in. This is where my attitude is gonna shift a little bit, because set-asides are great, right? Like, what's wrong with set-asides? Like, what do you mean they're not gonna save me? Like, what does that even mean? Like, okay, I get it. Okay, I get it. What I mean is, so many, especially those that are starting out, brand new, and honestly, I'm not even going to say to a lot of them that it's their fault, because there's just so much lack of information in the industry. But if you don't know what your plan is for your GovCon business, like if you don't know what you're going to sell, for example, that's one good thing to have in a plan. It's a pretty damn important thing. If you don't know what good or service you're going to sell, okay, you might want to know that before you go on this journey of accumulating set-asides for your business, okay? Set-asides are great, like that's fine, but they're not great when this thing happens, okay? Another example, if you don't know what you're going to be bidding on, or let's just say you don't even know your target agencies who you're going to be marketing to, but you're pursuing the path of getting set-asides for your business, I think that's a problem, okay? Like I think it's a problem. It's a bigger problem with certain set-asides, and it's a smaller problem for others. So let me just quickly touch on that, and then I'm going to go really deep into what I mean by this problem. The woman-owned small business certification, it's changing at the end of the year. But as of right now, you can go to certify.sba.gov and get a third-party certification to actually have your woman-owned small business certification, okay? It takes 30 minutes to do that. You just have to upload some documents to the certify.sba.gov website, and you can get that certification for your business, okay? It doesn't cost money, and it's fairly simple. So when you're talking about opportunity cost, it's not a big deal. So it may be still problematic in my opinion, but it's not a huge risk. But on the other side, if you're looking to get the HUBZone or the 8A or the veteran-owned small business, those things are a lot of work. And this really is what fuels my fire and my whole message for you in today's YouTube Live is that takes a lot of time. Sometimes it can even take a lot of money if you're hiring somebody. There's literally people out there that would charge, hey, pay me $2 or $3 grand and I'll do your veteran-owned small business certification for you. $2 or $3 grand. I mean, that's a lot of money for a small business that hasn't earned a cent, right? So that is a bit of the contrast that I want to paint for you as we kind of circle in and it becomes more obvious what this problem is that I'm kind of taking the long way around like I like to do, so that I can kind of overcome all of your objections before I even get there. You know, you're going to spend the next 6 months trying to get into the 8A program when you don't even know what good or service you're going to sell to the government. Okay. You're going to spend the next 4 or 5 months getting a veteran-owned small business certification, maybe spending some money, maybe not, but a good amount of time, focus, and attention. Okay. When you don't even know what the agencies are that you plan to target, you don't even know how to bid on a contract. You don't know the 4 stages of a bid. Guys, there's so much critical stuff like meat, like really, really important stuff that you need to make this whole set-aside thing work. And what I'm really kind of going to start to harp on is there's people out there that are selling you the dream that if you get this set aside, the 8A program, okay, I'll call it out, even veteran-owned small business, any program though, I've literally heard it for all of them. If you get this set aside, this certification, okay, contracts, dude, they're going to be so alive, these contracts, they're literally going to walk through the door themselves. They're going to open up the door and they're just going to walk in, and the contract's just going to sit on your couch right next to you. You know, and people are selling this 100%. Go out and get this. And what I'm saying is it's not even your fault, because a lot of people, they're new to the space, and bam, they get hit with that. And they're like, okay, well, I guess this is what I need to do. You know, I say take a year, even take 18 months to 2 years, learn what you're doing, use a set aside to supplement your business and further restrict competition and hone in on a strategy that your business now has, you know, and then go out and tell all your relationships that you've built over the last year, hey, we just got into the set aside program. Wow, that's awesome. You know, you have somebody to tell. You have contracting officers, you have WOSBs, you have small business liaisons that you can tell that to. And I'm not talking in like a celebratory way, but not only a celebratory way, but a way of, hey, when they have those requirements, now they know, like, and trust you because you've been building that relationship with them. Then when they have something more specific, like a woman-owned small business set-aside contract, it makes organic common sense for them to ask you, is this something your business can do? But we do it all backwards. You know, you go out and you do all this stuff, and then it's crickets. You know, you can't get around doing the hard work. But it's like, let me do all the easy stuff, because it's easy to go and chase this thing, you know, because this thing is gonna fix it. This is gonna be my silver bullet once I get this set aside, or once I get whatever, you know. I'm talking about set asides today. That it's gonna fix everything, and it's not. You're just delaying the inevitable. If you don't know how to write a bid, but you're chasing a certification, you're trying to get into the 8A program, what are you doing? You know, especially the 8A program, because the 8A program is the only program that has a ticking clock of 9 years. So now you're going to start ticking that clock. You're going to get in, maybe. You have to be in business for 2 years, and you've got to have tax returns for 2 years to show cash flow, which is even more reason to not rush into that particular program. But so many are doing it because they're being told this is where all the money is. Hey, you know what? I worked for 5.5 years for a government contractor in the 8A program. It's awesome. It's very lucrative. But we didn't start out doing that. You know, like, we built into it. If we would have started out, we would have wasted the first few years at least of the program, because we would have no relationships to market to. We wouldn't know our pricing model. You know, we wouldn't have honed in on the particular services we were offering. But so many want to just skip all that and then just get the set aside, because it's like it's a gold and shiny object. You know, it's like shiny object syndrome. You know, let me go and get the thing, and that'll make all my dreams better, because at least it's something that you can talk about. So I'm essentially committing the whole mission to my presence, to GovKidMethod, to having people focus, having small business owners, you focus on doing the right things, the things that will literally result in a government contract award, and the only things that can result in a government contract award. Like, think about it. Say the best thing in the world happens. Let's look at your scenario. In a perfect world, you get your 8A, or you get your service disabled or your veteran-owned small business certification, CVE, from the Department of Veteran Affairs. And say the best thing in the world happens, and a contracting officer literally just approaches you out of nowhere and says, we want to give you this contract. Okay? Like, let's say the thing that the people are saying is what's going to happen, which isn't going to happen. But let's say that even does happen, you're gonna crap your pants. Like, you're not even gonna know what to do, because you know what? You still have to respond with a bid. You still have to respond with your pricing. And if you spend all this time like not bidding and not getting experience on doing these things, but you just prolonged it all, to get this certification. And then if that perfect moment happens, you're still going to be screwed, because you're not going to know what to give them, because you skipped the whole most important thing, and this is what they don't tell you. But unfortunately, they're taking your money. Or hey, most of you are probably lucky enough. You guys, my group right here, our community, hopefully most of you have not, given money for this, this silver bullet idea to an outside company or something like that. Okay. But you know what, still, if you've still changed your strategy because of it, so even though you've spent $0, but your next 6 months or your next 12 month strategy has been changed because that's what you've heard, it still costs you. Because you know what, it's September 18th. And if you're not bidding because you're focused on something like this, it's cost you. It's cost you time, it's cost you resources, and it's cost you money. It's costing you experience. If you don't know how to respond to source of thoughts, guys, there's 5 things, and then I'm gonna take a break. I'll check the chat. I'm gonna take a break in just a second, but I just wanna get this out, and then I'll check the chat and get a drink here. Totally lost my train of focus here, guys. I'm so bad at that. Let me see if I can remember it. I was in the middle of something really good. Yeah, okay. What I was going to say is, if you're not doing these 5 things, responding to source of thought, responding to bids, marketing to contracting, marketing to WOSB, and attending GovCon conferences to build relationships at your target agencies, if you're not doing those things and you're doing something else, you're doing the wrong thing. So that's what you need to be doing. Certainly not chasing set-asides if you don't know how to do these things. So let me break there. Ritesh says, is the process of certification different for federal and state 8A program? Ritesh, I'm not aware of an 8A program on the state level, Ritesh. I think the 8A program is only a federal type thing. So Jasmine Lee says, first time, is he saying sole source? Jasmine, yes. Sorry, if there's a bit of echo in this room, this will go away on future lives. It's like I said, just because the whole house is empty. So now everything is totally like bouncing. The acoustics are horrible. So yes, I am saying sole source, S-O-L-E, you said it perfectly, also known as a single source, or sometimes referred to as a direct award. So yes. Black Dog Home Builders, hey, sorry I'm late. Hope you are well. The small business cert is not that hard, correct. Black Dog, thank you so much for the super chat. I really, really appreciate the support that you showing up every week and supporting the channel. Thank you so much, Black Dog Home Builders. I really appreciate it. If you were late, you probably missed that Hurricane Sally hit where I'm supposed to be moving to. So I am well, but our situation is not well. To answer your question, we're kind of stuck, delayed here. So yeah, unfortunately, hopefully within a week, hopefully we'll be able to do our move, because we're supposed to move tomorrow and now we can't because of the hurricane. But again, your question, the small business cert is not that hard, correct? So there actually is, for federal contracting, there is no small business cert at all. And Black Dog, thank you for saying that. I meant to add that into my notes. Any business that's gone through SAM.gov registration, which means you've put in your annual revenues and all that stuff that they make you answer, you automatically get the total small business set aside. So that means every business, and I'll probably go into this a little bit more because it's a great point on Black Dog. Every business that's a small business that has small business size standard NAICS codes associated with them, you automatically get the total small business set aside. It's nothing you have to do. So if you go to beta.sam.gov and you toggle and you search by set asides, you will also see a total small business set aside. Well, you've already got it. Okay, if you're registered to SAM, so it is the easiest one to get. You've already got it, which is, I'll talk about it a little bit more when we get back to the topic, but it's like, it's the reason why you don't have to rush out and get a set aside, because you automatically get one of the best ones, and you can bid on anything that's total small business set aside. So Amber says, I'm new to this. I'm open to deciding which goods or services to provide. How can I find what is most in demand? MOB, WOB, non-veteran. So Amber, if you are a woman-owned small business, for example, I wouldn't start out from the set aside standpoint, because again, Amber, I want you to think in terms of your business first, and then think of set aside as a supplement to your business over time. And it doesn't have to be a lot of time, but at least figure out what you're doing first. So Amber, if you're saying, you're trying to decide which goods or services to provide, you're right on point, because you definitely need to figure that out before the set aside. So it's not like, certain set aside programs buy all of this type of good or services. And I think maybe part of your question is coming from that. And it's not like that. Like, it's not like, oh, if I want to get into construction, I need to be this type of set aside. Construction is spread out, through all the different set asides, including the total small business set aside that we can all bid on. But you're asking, what can you find? How can you find what's most in demand? And that's a good question. What I would recommend doing for that, and I do teach it in the What Should You Sell course that's free on my website, GovKidMethod.com. I show you how to go from the NAICS code table, select some NAICS codes, plug them into USA Spending, and USA Spending will show you by NAICS code what literally is the dollar value of spending, because that's what your question is. It'll actually show you who's buying the most of that NAICS code. More specifically, what agency is buying the most of that NAICS code. So that's a good place for you to start. Again, what should you sell to the government? I have that course set to free on my website. I can't get into much more detail than that right now, but it'll take you through the steps. I think that would be super helpful to you, Amber, if that's your question. And you said, perfect, thank you. You're so welcome. Thanks for the question, Amber. Jasmine says, does your current content provide insight on how to create your first bid? So Jasmine, good question. I do also have another free course on how to read and outline a bid. I believe it's my last free course on the website. And what it does is it takes you through the common elements, because here's the thing, every bid is different. I'm trying to keep on track here, but every bid is different. And so I can't give you like a boilerplate, okay, here's how you do a bid. So instead, what I try to teach you is how to read a bid, because you're going to see many different ones, and then how to put together an outline to formulate your response. So I do have that available for you free, again, on the website. And that's, how to read a bid and create an outline. That's the name of the course. So Jasmine, GovKidMethod.com, you'll find that there. So I'll go ahead and if you guys are liking this, before I get back to it, feel free to hit that like button. We'd like to get to 20 likes if you haven't already. And also, if you haven't subscribed, if you're new here, all we talk about is government contracting on this channel. We're trying to provide GovCon material and content like no other channel out there. So if you want to support the channel, feel free to hit the like button on today's live video, or consider subscribing. That would be awesome too. If you're new here or you haven't subscribed, that would be totally awesome to have you as a subscriber in our community. So back to Black Dog's point with that small business set aside. So hope you guys are clear on that. If you're here and you're registered to SAM, you automatically have a small business set aside for your business. So you can literally bid on contracts that are of that reduced pool for small business set-aside contracts. So what that means is there's one more thing called full and open contracts. And that means like the big boys can bid on it, you know, like Microsoft or Boeing or any of these massive companies that you would be really hard pressed to try to compete with. Well, they win government contracts too, but they win them in like the hundreds of millions and the billions, right? So if a contract is set aside for small business, that means they can't bid on it and you can. So I hope that's clear, because there is a distinction. Basically, think of the giant circle is all contracts, and then the first reduction is to all small businesses. So that's the total small business set aside in this circle. And then within that, contracting has the option to go even more narrow with our main 5: 8A, woman-owned, service-disabled, veteran-owned small business, or just veteran-owned small business itself, and HUBZone. So those are 5 smaller circles bouncing around within that total small business set-aside circle. So the reason why, again, set-asides are not going to save you. I've alluded it to this point, but you have to learn to do the work. And I'm sorry, I know that's not sexy, and some of you may have heard me say that before, but you may also be guilty of this. And if it is, I'm hoping to get you back on track. You know, for example, I spoke with somebody a little while back. They were asking me, how do I use my set aside? How do you use it? Like, how do I use it? Somebody told this person that they can use it. And I had to take about 20 minutes breaking down that it's not a thing that you use. It just gets you into that restricted pool, so that if it's set aside for woman-owned small business, for example, then you've got the ticket. You've got the ticket to play. If you don't have the ticket, you can't play. So only if you're a woman-owned small business can you respond to bids that are set aside for woman-owned small businesses. But this person wasn't really getting it, and it's because they had been so informed that this was like a thing that you could use, and like it's almost like you exchange it for a contract. Like it's crazy. And I hate to hear this, because I don't blame that person. I blame the industry or sources of information in the industry for misinforming her. So I had to take half of our session just to break that down, because I'm like, it's not a thing, So don't spend a whole year trying to get this thing, because at the end of the day, it's not going to come and save you. Like, it's not going to pay your bills. It can supplement your business over time, and it can help you, develop relationships and things like that, because now you have something to offer contracting, because contracting has small business goals. Small business goals means they have to give certain contracts or certain amount of dollars to a woman-owned small business, or to a HUBZone, or to a veteran-owned. Like, that's the thing. Contracting has to do that. Every agency has it. And so this is what's being sold and put out there. And so everybody rushes out to go and get this thing, but it's like you still have to compete. And you're competing against other businesses of like kind, other businesses that have this set aside. You're not the only one who has it. Thousands of businesses have it. So you're like skipping the thing of learning how to compete just to get on Easy Street, and skip doing all the hard work. And guys, come on, we know nothing good comes easy. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. We all know this, right? And that's really what this is about. This isn't totally dumping on set asides. I told you there's 3 really positive things about set asides. The rule of 2. Reduce competitive pools, and what was the third one? Checking my notes. I cheat sometimes. What was the third one? Oh, soul sourcing. Yeah, and soul sourcing is the third one. That you can only get those with set asides unless you have a really unique, widget that you made and nobody else has it. Contracting can write a justification and approval even if you don't have a set aside, but unless you're inventing things, then you're probably not going to be able to do that. So there's really great things about set-asides, but to use them as an excuse, as the golden shiny object syndrome, to get away from doing the things that you have to do, and maybe you don't know you have to do them. So that's why I'm going to be screaming on this channel. And my whole mission is to have folks, I want to be in the trenches with you. Okay. And so my whole mission is to have you doing the right things, doing the small wins, the things that are actually going to result in something, instead of running out and doing the things that are maybe easier to do, that maybe you can it's tangible, so you can grab it, so you feel like you get that positive feedback. Okay, I did something, like we all get that dopamine hit when we register in SAM. We're like, okay, cool, I'm making progress. Now what? I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. Do I market? Don't I market? Do I respond to bids? Do I not respond to bids? How do I respond to bids? Do I get set-asides? Do I get a GSA schedule? Do I become a subcontractor? Do I JV? So much stuff, right? It's so much stuff. So I totally get you. I get it. I've been there. I understand it. I've spoken with hundreds of people now, hundreds of small business owners, and I'm hearing the same stuff over and over and over again, which is good news and bad news for me as a GovCon coach, because it really is going to help me to double down on the things that you all seem to be needing help with, and so maybe some of the things that I think you do that maybe you don't. So let me go ahead and check the chat. There's only one more thing I want to talk about before we go to questions. So I'm going to check the chat, then I'll get to that one thing, and then we'll round out the rest of today with questions, because there's not much more that I want to talk about regarding the set-aside. I think, and I hope you all kind of get the point, but it's like there's so much of it out there. I hate that I have to do a topic on this, but I have to. So. And right now, I'm just looking for any questions that are relating to the topic. So I'm going to temporarily skip over any questions that are not. Like I said, any other GovCon questions I'll get to at the end of the session. So if I skip you right now, I'll get back to you once I finish the topic. Albert Anderson says, I'll have to catch up. I was listening to Pat Flynn. Albert, that's hilarious, because, and thank you so much for saying that. I know this isn't related to the topic, but I'm going to be selfish because I pretty much watch Pat Flynn every day. Pat Flynn is a smart passive income master of building, nothing at all with government contracting, but he's one of my online mentors, one of the people that I follow and I learned so much from. And Albert, I love that you say that, because I'm even bummed that I'm missing Pat's YouTube live, because I have to do my own YouTube live. But I'm even more happy to be live with all of you. So I'm okay with it. But that's really funny. Jasmine says you're awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jasmine. Black Dog says, you mean it doesn't just happen magically? You actually have to work for it? That's Black Dog. I know that I'm not talking about you when I'm talking about this topic. So thank you for lightening things up for myself and everybody else. Yes, guys, you do have to put in the work, but in all seriousness, what the work is not clear. And so that's why I'm not harping on anybody, because I blame the industry for this, for the bad education. And I blame the sharks that are trying to rip people off, because at the end of the day, hey, you go and get this. Well, a day later, nothing's changed. You're like, okay, I got this thing. I spent $1,000 and my life is not any different. Well, this is what we need to end. Janine says, I thought slightly similar until seeing your videos, Janine. I'm now marketing my business while my set-aside is in process, so I appreciate the info you were putting out there. Absolutely, Janine. Marketing is super crucial and critical, so that while you're marketing and developing those relationships, then when you get the set-aside, you have something to go out and tell these folks. So a lot of times when I talk about marketing to contracting or the WOSB, small business liaisons, people don't know what to say. And I always say, well, it's all about the follow-up. And it's like, well, what do I follow up with? Well, hey, if you do all this before you do all the activity, you don't have anything to follow up with, right? So develop that first. And then as you grow your business and you have all these things, you have all these updates and follow-ups that you can give. And this is an example of one. So absolutely. Amber says for set-asides, is there a known timing of the contract or bid cycle in regard to the time of year when opportunities are announced? Yeah, Amber, there is actually. So at the beginning, first few months of every fiscal year, the fiscal year runs from October to September. September, July, and August are the busiest months. It's the busiest quarter. The fourth quarter is the busiest. And then the first quarter is kind of the slowest, or one of the slowest. The first two quarters are honestly pretty slow. So what that means is at the beginning, first quarter primarily, Amber, they release what's called a procurement forecast. So if you know what agencies you're trying to market to, you should be targeting 3 to 5. Even if you start out with 3, that's fine. 3 agencies that you know are buying the good or service that your small business is selling. Get their agency forecast at the beginning of the year when they release it, and they will give you, the project title. It's like an Excel sheet. Project title, dollar range, set aside, which is your question, anticipated solicitation release date, maybe the contracting officer's email address, point of contact. So that is a specific answer to your question. So really good question. So yeah, guys. So that's. I'll get back to the rest of the chat and respond to anything else that I missed after I finish this last bit of everything. So I hope you're kind of clear on my reason why set-asides will not save you. I hope that's clear for everybody, and I hope you don't take that as me saying set-asides are bad, because I never said that. As a matter of fact, I told you 3 really good things about set-asides. It's just bad the way that things are, they're kind of being done backwards, or they're being sold on something that a set-aside is when it's really less than that. So if you have clear expectations, then that's all I want for you. I want you to have clear expectations so that you can build your GovCon business strategy accurately, instead of building something on like a pillars of sand that as soon as you start trying to do something, it just crumbles because it's not what you expected. I want your business built on concrete. I want you to build the Parthenon where you have 16 pillars. Like, there's no way this business is going down. So once you start doing those activities, everything's just going to stack and stack and stack. And it's going to hold all the weight of all the activities you're doing. Meaning you're not going to be wasting time, wasting resources, wasting money, doing wrong things. Those are all things that would be like sand, right? Because you're just going to keep falling, and you're not going to get ahead in your business. But if you have a strong foundation where every time you do something, it's going to support and kind of reinvest and circle back into your business, because it's all part of your plan and your strategy. So I was debating talking about this. This is that one more thing that I said I wanted to talk about before we round out the chat for today. And thank you all for being here. And again, if you haven't hit the like button and you did like today's video, feel free to hit that like button. I would appreciate it. It helps the video rank in the searches for government contracting. But the one more thing I wanted to talk about that I'm a little nervous to share with you, but this is me committing myself to you all. So I'm creating a program, and I've touched on this in the past, but I'm going to go into more detail with you right now. I'm going to be creating a program. I'm not going to tell you the name of it, but I'm going to be creating a program that takes you through these 5 main things. Okay, so it's going to take you through building relationships, marketing to contracting, responding to sources thoughts. Bids is definitely in the program, and it's going to be kind of a lot of detail because bids is kind of a monster. So there's going to be a lot about bidding. And then GovCon conferences. as well as marketing to contracting. So if I got those 5 correctly, it's marketing to OSB. So again, marketing to contracting, marketing to OSB, responding to sources sought, responding to federal bids, and GovCon conferences. Those are the 5 things that should be taking up your time. That is the work. When somebody says, what do I do? These are the 5 things that you should do. So I will be creating a program, and I'm really hoping, because of this move, it's throwing off my timeline a little bit. I haven't told anybody about this in any level of detail, but since you all have been so nice to stick around, and more importantly, we got new folks and we've got returning folks here, which is so awesome. You're the ones I want to kind of share this with first. We'll be creating a program where the focus is on these 5 things. Okay, there's not going to be anything about getting registered, nothing about capability statements. It's going to be on these 5 things. And I'm going to go into a lot of detail. I'm going to have call scripts, email scripts, not bid templates, but what I'm literally going to have for you is sections of bids that you can kind of like plug and chug. It's not going to be a silver bullet. There is no silver bullet, but what it's going to be is like, hey, my proposal needs this section. Okay, plug this in, and then you just have to customize it. So that's really what's going to take me a lot of the work. So I'm going to be creating a program that is focused on this. It is going to be a paid program. It's where I'm going to be spending all of my time. I'm probably going to be getting rid of my strategy sessions. Probably no more one-on-ones with me, probably. I say that because I may still do that, but it's going to be at a different price point. It will be more expensive for my time, quite frankly, for the one-on-one sessions. But with this program, like the program is going to be the place to be. It's going to have its own Facebook group. It's obviously going to be a paid program, and it's not going to be a cheap paid program. It's probably going to be at least, well, I'll say it's going to be more than $1,000. So it's for only those people who want to invest in their business and are actually serious. Because what I've found through this last year is there's a lot of folks that could get to me like at the $100 strategy session fee, but so many of them are not serious. So everything I'm doing with GovKid is to truly help those people. And it's the way that I have to go forward when I create this program. I'll probably be releasing it in January. I hope I can release it in January. So it's really only a few months away. But it's going to be focused on literally these 5 things. It will have its own private Facebook group. So only people who have paid and are serious will be in this group. I will be in this group, and you will get a lot more exclusive access to me. And only folks like you will get exclusive access. There's probably not going to be a lot of people in there, so it's going to be rather exclusive. But like I said, it's going to have some may call it a relatively high price point, but to literally get access to the stuff that I know, and it took me 5 years, almost 6 years to learn, and to literally have access to proposal bids and templates and scripts, things that took me all that time to learn. To be able to get that for that dollar range, it's honestly still a steal. Like a college course, you can spend a couple of grand on, $3-4 grand, and how much do people spend on every semester? So it's not going to be anything that expensive, but it's got to be enough so that you are serious and that you have skin in the game. So I'm not going to tell you the name of it, but it's something that I'm really excited about. I will be letting you know more about it in case any of you in the future, when I launch this, probably in January, in case you are going to be interested in something like that, this is where I'm going to be hanging out. It's going to be helping people with these 5 mini wins. Because if you can do a source of sought, if you can get that sent off, that is a mini win, okay? If you can get a bid sent off, that's like more than a mini win, but it's also a mini win, okay? If you can develop relationships with contracting officers, that's a win, so we have to celebrate the small wins. And that's what this is going to be about, going to GovCon conferences, getting in front of the OSB, okay? Let's get rid of the fear factor. Let's get rid of, I don't know what to say. So I am going to be having scripts and things like that, things that I've used that work for me and other folks in the industry. It's going to be very, very detailed. And it's just basically those 5 mini wins is what this is all going to be focused on. So just letting you know, this is the first time I'm putting that out there. If you have any, if that's something you think you might be interested, you know, you can keep it to yourself or you can put it in the chat. Honestly, it's fine. I'm really just letting you all know that I will be coming out with that. And this is kind of my first unveiling of what it is going to look like. So, and again, I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of folks that join that, but I know there are going to be some, and it's going to be my goal to help them win government contracts. So if you've ever wanted to work with me on a more close level, I can't do it with everybody one-on-one, but in this closed group where it's only the people that are serious, that's where we're going to get some stuff accomplished. Arthur says, will you offer a payment plan? Yeah, I am able to offer a payment plan for that. So that definitely will be something that I can offer. So guys, that's all I wanted to say about that. It's kind of hard for me to talk about because it's something I've been so secretive about, and this is my first time. But hey, you guys are the only ones that are getting to hear it here on the live, or if you're watching this on replay, you're the first ones that get to hear about it. But I will be talking about it a lot more after the move is finished. So let me see who I missed in the chat, and then we'll round up today's session. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me. So Amber had said, "What if I only have 1 year of tax returns that includes my EIN? Can I start to bid on contracts?" So Amber, thank you for asking that question, Amber. You don't have to have any level of tax returns to start bidding on contracts. Okay, you can start out brand new, get your DNB and get your cage registered as SAM, and then bid. So I don't know why, again, this is like a misconception. You have to be in business for 2 years or something before you can start bidding on contracts. That's not correct. To be on a GSA schedule or to get into the 8A program, they want to see 2 years of tax returns, Amber, but just to start bidding, as soon as you're registered, have at it. I mean, there are plenty of folks that just get registered and then they win their first contract within a couple months. So thanks for giving me an opportunity to clarify that for you. Jasmine said, when you say agencies to market to, is there a specific way we should be marketing these agencies? LOL, and where do we find these quote unquote agencies? So Jasmine, yes, there is. I talked about marketing in a few different videos if you want to check them out on the channel. But I'll tell you so that you know what to find them with. But you can market to OSDBUs, so Office of Small Disadvantaged Business Utilization. In OSDBU is a great place that you can market your GovCon business to. So that's one marketing thing that you can do. You can market directly to contracting officers. One way to do that is to engage with them to send your capability statement. You can also, you respond to sources sought market research, which is a form of marketing as well. So those are 3 things, but I do go in more detail. And I lost my place here. Jasmine, I have a YouTube video that's got like a big purple cow on it on the thumbnail of the video. It says this #1 GovCon marketing activities. If you check that out on my channel, you'll get a lot more detail on that. So Albert says, I'll have to catch up. I was listening to Pat Flynn's. Sorry. Oh yeah, that's right. Yep. Pat Flynn. Pat Flynn is the man. Let me see if there's anything else. Antoine says, thanks for your sacrifice. For the sacrifice, you're appreciated. Antoine, thank you. All of us here, people like you, you make it all worthwhile. I'm trying to live a life. I'm trying to build a business here, an online business, helping folks in the GovCon space. And it's something that I want to be able to look back on many, many years in the future and say, I did it right. And that's not by, like vanity numbers of how many subscribers I have or how many whatever I have. Although it's part of the numbers game, it's not my main focus. My main focus is, well, how many small business owners did I actually help? Okay. How many people got registered, or how many people, won their first contract, or, did their first source of sod or their first bid or whatever, because maybe something I said helped them. That's really what I'm doing it for. So I appreciate that. DIY Fixer says, your website indicates that you're currently not conducting consulting sessions. Do you have an estimated time of when or if such services will resume? So, like I said, I think they probably will resume, but it's going to be different. And it will probably resume in October to November. But like I said, the one-on-one component, it may change, or if I do, and this honestly is the way I'm leaning, because I don't want to entirely get rid of it, but the price point is going to increase just because I need to really start focusing with those small business owners that are serious, because I do have a lot of free content out. And unfortunately, I spend a lot of time saying the same thing over and over and over during a strategy session. That's what the free stuff is for. You know, I really want the sessions to be focused on, you know, strategically, what do we need to do for your business? So that's kind of the time frame, and that's the change, as I was mentioning earlier, that's probably going to happen. DIY Fixer, so I hope that helps. Just don't go anywhere. Stay tuned for the next few weeks till October gets here and I finish my move, and you will see an update. Antoine says, nice. And Arthur says, will you offer the payment plan for what I was referring to? And I did respond to that. So that's it, guys. I don't see any other questions. Thank you so much for joining me today on this live session. Set-asides will not save you. I hope that it helps to answer this question, and maybe some of you to not go down the wrong path. Jessica Hefner says, I'm here and back from lunch. Jessica, what's going on? We are wrapping up. So if you missed a good chunk of it, this will be available via replay, Jessica. So thanks for letting me know. Mustafa says, I'm late. Hey guys, you know what? I actually appreciate you saying this, because I'm still dialing in the time. So let me know what is the optimal time for you. I'll just put it out there. If you have an optimal time that you would prefer the live sessions, I'm trying to get as many folks during the live session as possible. And if that means doing them at night, like at 8 o'clock or something like that, I may be open to that. I might not, because of family time. But if 1 o'clock is better, or 1:30 or 2 o'clock is better than 12:30, let me know that with the in the chat or on replay. Let me know that. I know a lot of you will watch this on replay, so let me know in the chat of a time that would work best for you if 12:30 is not optimal, because I do want to optimize that. So I appreciate that feedback, Mustafa and Jessica, because I don't want you to have to be late. Casey says, I did my first CAPE briefing because of you. That's awesome, Casey. I met with two contracting officers, holy cow, and I received great feedback. That is awesome. So congrats, Casey. Thanks for jumping in and sharing that. So Casey just shared that she had her first capability briefing with 2 contracting officers, and she received great feedback. So that is an example of one of these small wins that we will be, focusing on doing, because Casey did what's called a capability briefing, and that's something that we're going to be teaching. I'm going to be teaching in the program that I open up in January, hopefully. It's these small wins that add up to winning that contract, right? Because just in one conversation, you don't get a contract, or just responding to one bid, that doesn't often result in you winning that contract. But it's these small efforts. So we're going to be putting the focus on these small efforts, showing you how to do these right things in a lot of detail, so that there's no question. There should be no question on how to do them, so that it just comes down to you actually doing it. And that's the program I'm going to be releasing hopefully in January. And Casey's small win here, I want to celebrate, because that's exactly the type of thing we're going to be doing. And she said Casey said that I have been sending emails to multiple contracting officers, right? And so that is how Casey accomplished that. So Casey said, I was so nervous, but it led to them referring to other agencies and working with them on another opportunity. Exactly. And that's one of the things also that we talk about is, whenever you have a meeting, if you don't have a clear next step for the meeting, then the meeting can be a failure. So you can always get a referral. So sometimes the purpose of a meeting is to get another meeting. So what Casey said was Casey was referred to another agency to work on another opportunity. So that's another great example of how a referral can work. And if they don't bring it, then you can bring it. Like you can offer that up, but they may have just offered it up to you just because they wanted to help you or whatever, because they gave you great feedback and stuff. So that's awesome. I didn't have my capabilities briefing ready until after I got the meeting. Gotcha. That's okay. I do recommend always have that CAPE statement lined up before the meetings, but it sounds like you winged it and it went really great. So yeah, Albert says, how would I use this with my music? Albert, you would have to find, it sounds like you're back to, Albert, you're talking about the good or services stage, like what good or service, and you're saying, well, I do music. How can music relate? Well, what you would need to do is, again, check out the course. What should I sell to the government? It'll tell you how to. It'll show you how to look at NAICS codes and PSC codes, and then put that into the database to find maybe opportunities that are related to music. I can tell you right off the bat, the government probably doesn't buy a lot of music, but the government may buy, like editing, things like that. Or sometimes I know they do, like for example, the Army National Guard, commercials, marketing. So I know that they have music involved in those type of endeavors. So it would be up to you to do some research and see what the goods or services that the government is buying as it relates to music. Yeah, in case he said that it forced me to do it, yeah. So making that commitment of having the meeting, it forces you to go through and make your CAPE statement or any of those other supplemental materials. Absolutely. Cool. So yeah, thanks for that last shot of life into the chat here. That was awesome. So guys, I'm hoping I'll be moving next week. So I'm hoping that I can even do something from my phone next Friday for our next live session. I mean, I'm not going anywhere just because I'm moving. I'm still going to show up for you. I love doing these. This is our 8th. I want to, see how our 10th goes and then evaluate. So I want to get to 10 live sessions. So I'm hoping next Friday we will have another live session. Hopefully I'm in the middle of moving though, so it will be a little crazy. I will try to do something from my phone if nothing else, but just stay plugged into YouTube or the Facebook group or email for those updates. So thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I will end it here. Have a great upcoming weekend. I hope you've got some good stuff planned, and I will see you next time. See you later.